So the first thing we're going to do in our training session is the soft tissue work in the warm-up. And the idea of this is to basically take any tight muscles and start getting them a little more pliable so we can increase your range of motion. You're going to see we use a foam roll, the stick, tennis ball, and then once that's done, we move into some joint mobilizations. And here you're watching me use the peanut, so we can start mobilizing the thoracic spine, which is often a little sticky and stiff and kyphotic on people. But we can also do joint mobs for the ankle. So right here you see me do an ankle glide for what is my stiff ankle. And then once we get the joints moving better, we start doing some Pnf stretches. This is a Pnf Quad Stretch. And you'll notice I engage, ready? And here we go. So as we get more and more range of motion, we start engaging the muscle that we're stretching so we can strengthen it in that new range of motion. Here you'll see me doing the same exact thing with a Pnf Hip Flexor Stretch. And this is so that we don't do some stretching, get new range of motion. We don't have any type of good motor control through it. This is how we get that started. And then we follow it up with some dynamic mobility work here. This is a Spider-Man stretch. And as you can see, I'm taking advantage of end range of motion, controlling where my body is, and moving through space so that I'm slowly preparing myself more and more for the training session ahead. This is a walkout. As you can tell, as I come in here, there's a lot of mobility that's required from the back line of the hamstrings, butt, and back, but also a good amount of core and shoulder stability before we move into some agility work. Here's a few different pieces of what we do in the programs here before we ramp it up even further to our power. This is a broad jump and a med ball floor slam as we start really perking up our nervous system before we move into our main lifts. So on the two main training days, we've got a squat and a deadlift. And here you see me doing a goblet squat, which is an easier progression before you guys advance to a barbell back squat, which is what you're seeing right now. On your other training day, we focus on hip hinges and deadlifts. This is a deadlift, a kettlebell sumo stance deadlift with an elevated weight, so you don't have to go to a full range of motion. And then as you get better, you can take the weight away and go deeper. And eventually, once you're getting a decent amount of weight up like this, and you feel pretty confident in your technique, if you've got access to one, you can do trap bar deadlifts. And then finally, we could progress into a traditional barbell deadlift. Then we start moving into our supplemental lifts, and here we've got a single arm overhead press. Which can be superset with our horizontal pull pattern, 3-point row. And now you're watching some alternating reverse lunges. And this is the rotational pattern. This is a half kneeling cable lift. So in your supplemental lifts, you're basically getting all the other patterns that you haven't hit yet in your main lifts of the day.